Serpentine 8 is not won by a single large move. It's won by riders who understand where the race matters most. Today we're going to use 3 different real race perspectives. One from Brian, another from JD, and the third from myself. This way we understand where riders might get dropped and how to survive it. This is a course where a gravel setup is mandatory. The 3 fastest bike, order slowest to fastest, is the Pinarello Dogma GR, to the Cannondale Super X, and finally the new Cervelo Aspero 5. For wheels, the 2 fastest are the Roval Terra Aero CLX and the Zip 303s. The lead-in today is long, roughly 4.5 miles and mostly downhill. That means one thing: let the over-eager riders pull, let the flyers attack, and let them use their energy. JD and I both take a calmer approach, sitting in the wheels, trusting physics, because downhill, momentum favors the biggest bunch. Brian, meanwhile, is pushing hard near the front and testing riders early. That can work, but understand the cost. As we enter the jungle, the road will briefly flatten and kick up to around 4% as we move to the right. It is very possible to create gaps here if you're a motivated rider like Brian. Because riders are fresh, an attack here likely won't be successful. Just as before, continuing to use the draft and using this time to rest is typically better suited for most riders. After what is roughly 5 minutes of racing, you'll near the bottom of this descent. This is the first true selection point of the race, the jungle bypass climb. These riders are fresh, momentum is high, and everyone will hit this climb too hard. You need to enter this climb in the top 15% of the bunch. Not top half, top 15%. Watch my race here. I enter far too passively from the rear. Within seconds, the group is stretched, gaps are forming, and my race is changing before our eyes. If you're in the rear here, step on the pedals immediately or accept that you may be racing for a second group. Both Brian and JD ride this well, sticking with the group and moving up and back in the group as necessary. For me, we see the gap open and look at the cost. I'm pushing 6.6 watts per kilogram just to reconnect with a group that isn't even the front. That's the lesson of Serpentine 8. Use watts when they matter, use brains whenever possible. As we approach the waterfall, the road rises roughly to 2% into the sprint banner. This is exactly where we'll finish today's race, and the uphill is enough to reward late momentum attacks. But more importantly, this is where the steamroller power-up appears. Use it in one of 2 ways. 1, save it for a climb when you're losing wheels. 2, use it when launching an attack. Truthfully, most riders should save it for survival and not moves off the front. Now we begin the longest sustained effort of the day, the jungle counterclockwise climb. Pacing at roughly 4 watts per kilogram will have you finishing this climb just over 5 minutes. The climb itself has 2 personalities. Part 1, from the cave to the bypass turnoff, is steadier and less steep. Strong riders may attack here just like Brian does on screen. This is smart if you're trying to soften sprinters for the steeper ramps later on, or create a breakaway group. For most riders though, patience is often far better. Then comes part 2, longer, more difficult, and far more fatigue. There's several ramps touching 4%, and this is where groups will explode. Look around JD here, satellite groups everywhere and gaps opening. If you're struggling, focus on one thing: stay in a group. Even if it's a small one, because the descent ahead, it rewards bunches far more than solos. Passing under an arch will signal the last part of the climb in a short 4% descent. If you're not with a group by this point, you're likely too late to catch riders ahead, so you might want to ease and wait for a group to catch you from behind. There's still a 3% drag that will sting the legs before the bridge, and this is one of the most important features of today's route. You'll enter an 8% drop and then an 8% punch out. This is where smart riders move up. JD does this brilliantly. Uses momentum through the descent, carries speed, and gains positions naturally on the exit. Ride smarter, not harder. After this bridge, you'll have a nice 1.5 mile recovery towards the jungle bypass. As you enter the multiple switchbacks of the bypass section, this signals that you should get in position before the short punchy climb out of the bypass. Climbing will begin as the gravel turns into the bridge, and riders will push the pace for another short effort that's less than a half a mile and averaging around 2.3%. Most riders will be on the pedals for just over a minute. Similar to the lead-in, there is a chance to recover after this punch, so don't be afraid to dip into the red before looping back to the sprint banner. Remember, drafting is the most important aspect of this race. As the road flattens and you enter the cave, maintain your position and gather your final power-up of the day. You can either use this on the long climb if you're being dropped, or ideally, you'll save it for the final sprint. From here, we have the final major filter point of today's race, the jungle climb. Rather than the counterclockwise version we completed earlier, this side is shorter and steeper. It starts manageable, then grows teeth after the bypass. Several ramps push above 5%, and those ramps are often where the race breaks. In my race, I lose power and drop the wheels of the riders in front of me. A word of warning, be careful about riding too passively as riders come from behind you. Notice how quickly I lose the draft. I'm in the same situation before, falling off the back. Brian's group sees a rider off the back. Darren makes a move to drop that rider, and then smartly regroups with Brian and Peter to continue the race together. As you approach the bridge, 6.5 kilometers will remain. Your recovery does not begin right away because of the minor 3% descent as you approach the jungle turnoff back towards downtown to Watopia. JD continues to demonstrate this well, recovering in the back of the group. Just don't forget about that final 4% punch, which will lead you to the most important recovery section of the day. In many cases, groups will take this descent quite passively due to the intensity of the bypass climb. If you've made it this far, you should be confident that you can maintain connection with your group. Don't go into this climb thinking about saving your legs for the final bunch sprint. Long-range specialists might push the pace over the top here to break the group. All in all, over the top, scenario split. Scenario 1 is you crest with the front group. In that case, expect hesitation unless there's a flyer off the front. This is exactly what we see in both Brian and my footage. One thing to notice is there's a small rise with 800 meters remaining. I think that this is a perfect place for a surprise long-range move. Just make sure to attack from the rear of the group and use the momentum over the top. As the road drops briefly and flattens, the road will then kick again near the Mayan turnoff. This is where both our races launched. Best tactic, start from behind, use uphill momentum, and pass riders who hesitate. Scenario 2, you crest behind. Do not quit. JD nearly erases 24 seconds on the descent because riders ahead have eased too much. This race is not about one big attack. It's about surviving the filter points with the right group. Make sure you save energy early, position well before the climbs, use momentum on the bridge, and never assume your race is over until the finish line. If this helped, please consider subscribing to Bike Bonk Biff. Make sure to check out Brian and JD's channel. And finally, good luck in your race.